do that, right?
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So let's start like that. I'll just start right now. So I am Stephanie and I am a mom of 3. I have 2 teenagers and a teenager. My youngest is 12, so I've got one more left, not as a teenager. So I feel like I'm in the thick of it with this age. I've got a 17-year-old, 15, and 12. So it's kind of a broad range. Like the 17-year-old is like past some stuff, but into like new things, like new stages of teen years. And, the one in the middle is kind of in the middle of it. And then my 12-year-old is like just ramping up the tween stuff. And it's like, he's like halfway, he's like caught in the middle of tweenager and teenager. And it's crazy. So, I feel like I've been linking arms with moms a little more in this season because it's like just kind of, it's like a sucker punch most days. Like, what just happened? What did you just say? Why are you acting like that? So yeah. Anyways, that's where I'm at.
Candice, can you talk or you're driving?
Yeah, no, I can talk. Okay, so yes, I'm Candice, and I don't really have any teens. My oldest 9, but much I feel like in the hormone area, acne, and so like it's happening very early. So I feel like we're already kind of in that teen stage. So I do have a 7 and a 4-year-old. My 4-year-old can actually get to a teenager, but she's more. So mainly just dealing with a 9-year-old and a lot of emotion.
Yeah. You broke up a little bit while you were talking, but because I know basically what you were talking about, I think you were talking about Addie just like dealing with some acne and like just some changes already happening as a 9-year-old. So she's kind of moving into that anyway. So
Yes.
she's basically, I'm trying to think what years are considered tweenager, but I think that 9 is actually included.
Okay, well, she'll be 10
in the ages. So
months. She'll be 10 in 2 months. So I guess, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Cool.
Lisa, I don't know if I know you, but do you want to talk? You want to tell us about yourself and your family?
Sure. I have 2 adult children, and then I have a daughter who is a freshman.
Okay.
Who invited you today?
Janet Engel. I work with her.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Well, that's a nice friend.
Yeah.
Wow. Good deal. All right. Well, we know who Janet is. So so I'm glad you're here. Sarah, what about you?
I have a few teens that I've raised and they're out of the house, or one is still in my house. But I have a 27-year-old stepson who lived with us. Throwing the step in there makes it teenage years triple hard, I'd say. And then I have a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old who's still at my house, and a 19-year-old boy who has moved out, and then a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, and Peter is going to be 13 like 2 months after Junior turns 20. I think I said he's 20, but he's actually 19 for a couple more weeks. He'll be 20. And so I feel like I only have like 3 or 4 teens at a time ever. Like I won't surpass that number. 4 at a time. So let me think. There's Josh, Anna, and Josh and Anna are actually the only teens right now. So that's weird for me.
And then you've got like some littles.
Yeah. Yepers. Well, 10 and 5, they're not that little anymore, but 5 is kind of little, I guess.
Yeah, I would say. So Lisa, she's like one that we're like, you have to come on this call because you have a ton of experience. We like Sarah to be at things like this.
Oh,
We're like,
so
Sarah, tell us a little more about this age. So, okay, well, cool. We'll go ahead and just go through some stuff and we'll make it quick and just kind of, I guess, try to like bullet point it as much as we can. And then if we want to go any more in depth on anything, or if anyone has something they want to pipe in on, and maybe you have a story or you have a tip or an idea or something that works for you, let's like throw it out there. So this is kind of like all of us coming together and linking arms as mamas of all these kids that are supposed to be adults one day. And we're like partly responsible for helping that happen. So, so we'll just do that. So we have this, I guess, kind of like a script that basically we laid out 5 different areas that we feel like are actually really important for all of our health, but especially when we're looking at our tweens and our teens, like as our kids are growing and as they're going through all of the hormonal changes and just all the things. Because the years between adolescence and teen are full of changes, which we're all noticing. So with the right tips and the right tools, the season of life, I guess we're kind of learning it doesn't always have to be so overwhelming. We've got puberty, we've got menstrual cycles, we've got voices changing. I still can't hardly get used to my middle child right now. And every time he talks to me, I'm like, because his voice is so different. And the mood is different, but so there's so many signs that happen that say that our kids are like entering a new season of their lives. But so we're going to talk about 5 areas to just try to be intentional about, so you and your tweens and your teens can thrive a little more and maybe not just survive through these years. It actually always kind of kills me, even though I feel like these years, it brings a lot of different kinds of challenges. Like when they were all little, we're just keeping them alive. We're teaching them to not tell me no. We're teaching them to not hit people and not take toys. And then they start reaching these years and we're like teaching them about how to do life, and it gets relational and, you know, everything's changing and then all the things. So, it kills me sometimes though, how often moms of tweens and teens talk about how we really are just surviving these years. And I'm being really challenged by that lately. Like the last couple of years of just looking at how I can enjoy it and how I can also actually help it along. Like it doesn't have to be quite so difficult. And sometimes it's just the lens we're looking through. And sometimes it's also just some little things that we could do to maybe help things out. So we're going to share some of these ideas and we're just going to keep it in like 5 categories. All right. So I'm going to start with the first one. The first thing to just really be intentional about is that teens and tweens need healthy fats and a good diet. So we were looking at that. And as we were talking about just what we do at home and like, and just what we know is best, we're just learning a lot more about fat and how fat is just essential for your body. So like if you have a teen daughter who's like having body image issues and you see her like trying to cut out all the fat, that's actually impacting her in way more ways than just maybe making her not put on the weight she's supposed to put on, you know. But healthy fats in your diet and keep your hair and skin healthy, and they help you absorb fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, and K. Because we digest fat slower than carbs or protein, fats keep you fuller through the day and may stop you from eating junk later. So if we're feeding our kids just healthy fats, it's actually going to help them make better choices with the junk food and with just wanting all of that other stuff. So, one tip is to really pay attention to your kids' behavior and wellness after eating different foods. For example, Sarah had shared with me this week that she noticed one of her kids always got a migraine after eating hot dogs. Sarah, do you want to share anything about that?
Sure. So it's like, I think nitrates or nitrites, I can't remember, maybe it's both.
I think it's both. Yeah.
So always like, if I am trying to buy lunch meat, or is really common in lunch meat and hot dogs, or like cured meats like salami and things like that. So always look for the kind that says contains no nitrates or nitrites or whatever.
Right.
And it's also, those are also found in wine. And so like sometimes certain wines would give me a headache or whatever, so just something good to know. So like if Josh ever wants to drink or whatever, I can say like, this is, don't, make sure you get nitrate free, like when he gets older,
Yeah.
if that's something that, he's probably not going to, but just to be able to tell them to watch for that stuff if you want, if you have those issues.
Yeah. That's really
And
good to know.
also, is red dye on there?
It's not, but I was actually just thinking that same thing. Like
Yeah,
red dye.
that really affects my kids, especially the ones with ADHD.
Mhm.
It's really not good for people. It's not good for children especially.
Yeah.
And so if you start like, that's probably why they act up after candy, probably more than the sugar. Okay. Sugar might make them excitable and like running around and stuff like that, but the red dye can make them have like fits and, like tantrums and refuse to go to sleep and just yelling, fighting, that kind of stuff. That
Yeah.
anger, a lot of that comes from red especially, but really no dyes are good. So the artificial ones. But Trader Joe's has both nitrate free hot dogs and lunch meat, and Sam's Club has lunch meat that doesn't have those in it, but Trader Joe's, like, they don't have dyes in any of their food. So like their mac and cheese in the box, it doesn't have the red dye like Kraft does. Like you'd be surprised, it's in so much stuff. There's what's the other one? I'm sorry, candy. Did I say candy at Trader Joe's? Like it's colored with beets and different vegetables and fruits. So that's a really good alternative. So like they have lollipops and little suckers and things like that that kids like, or like a common candy, I guess. Gummies, they have a bunch of stuff. So like that's a really good option if you have a Trader Joe's near you, but you can probably buy them online cheap. It's just changing your buying habits.
Right.
Probably.
Right. Yeah, but paying attention to the kids' behavior and wellness after different foods, I do think is really important. I did read something about red dye once, that it takes like more than a whole day for it to get out of your system. So if they have a little bit every day, that means they always have it in their system. So if they have like any sort of reaction to it, it's going to just keep building on itself and just get worse and worse and worse. So like, when we talk about our cereals, especially Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, like all of those things, Captain Crunch with berries. I used to love that kind, and now I'm like, I can't buy that. Like, but cereals in general aren't all that healthy anyways. But then just talking about steering clear of highly processed fats like refined vegetable oils, processed meats, and just different snack foods. But making sure there's just healthy fat snacks around and just in your kids' diet is really helpful. So just some ideas that like I know my kids have really grown to like guacamole and stuff. So at Sam's or even at like Walmart and stuff, they'll have like the little cups of guacamole, and that's helpful because when you like actually make some from avocados, which are like $20 an avocado right now, it's actually like you got to eat it like that day, you know what I mean? But you can buy the little cups and then it can go in their lunches and stuff, or go to track meets. Like that's where we're always at right now. But avocados and guacamole, you can use coconut oil and olive oil and coconut milk, full fat dairy, if dairy's okay with you, free range eggs, grass-fed beef, all that kind of stuff. I will tell you, I don't do all of this super well, but I'm always like reminded of this kind of stuff. So when we are sharing all this, we're not like, we do all this so well, you should be like us. No, I'm actually reading these going, oh yeah, I need to do that. And then just other healthy foods like sweet potatoes and brown rice instead of white rice, and black beans. Black beans have really good protein and just it's like good fats. And then Sarah was talking about some organic bread that she likes, Dave's Killer Bread and White Done Right. I have never tried those. So those are ones to try. And then we just wrote down just other healthy snacks, like different nuts. But then I said avoid peanuts, because I've learned more and more about peanuts that they're just really not that great. They're kind of like kind of how like coffee is like, what is it like what is it that is all over it? Is it like the mold and stuff? Yes, peanuts are the same. So they've actually said like actually avoid peanuts, pistachios and walnuts. Walnuts, I guess, are the best ones for like the good fats. So I've been buying those a lot more. But you know, just fresh fruit, homemade protein balls, stuff like that. Anyways, almond butters and stuff.
Do you know about how walnuts look like a brain and they're good for your brain? Do you know about that? Like different foods that look like a part of your body, like plants, different plants and things like that, that look like the part of your body. They're actually good for that part of your body.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like, I think it's broccoli is good for your lungs. If you hold the broccoli upside down, it has them in the branches. Yeah. So that's a little trick. But the walnut is super obvious because it looks like a little brain.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. A couple of things that if your kids like any like protein shakes or protein drinks, Young Living's Balance Complete, that's like it's like full of fiber and stuff, so it like sticks to you for a while, but it's got kind of like a vanilla cream flavor. And then you've got Pure Protein Complete, and there's the vanilla kind and the chocolate kind. Those are really good. They're actually not bad at all. And there's different combinations of things you can do with them. Like any of the vanilla flavors, I always end up adding frozen fruit. And then I always add like a couple drops of like lime or orange or just something that to give it this like extra kick, like zing, and like a fruity flavor. And I think it's fabulous. And a couple of my kids really like it too. I know like some kids are just different about shakes and textures and all of that. But if they like that kind of thing, those are really good to have. So one of the things, Lisa, if you don't mind, if you're able to, or you could just tell us, if you share your email with us, we actually have a few recipes that we like to use. Like Sarah put in here, like a healthy snack recipe that she just loves. Kind of like the protein balls. It's kind of like that. That's what it looks like when I'm looking at the recipe. And then like some smoothie recipes and stuff like that. So if you would want those, if you give us your email, we'll just email them to you.
Okay. Do you want that right now or just?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I could actually just write it down.
Okay. It's easy.
Okay.
It's my name. So it's Lisa Urbis.
Wait, spell your last name.
ERBES.
ERB, like as in boy, right?
Right.
ERBES. Okay.
At live.com.
Okay, sweet. So we
Thank you.
will email you some recipes because we've all kind of like over the years just ended up having a few like go-to things that we just our kids like. So we'll email them to you. All right, cool. So we'll keep going through these. Getting past this recipe. Okay. So the second area that we were just feeling like was really important to just be intentional about is minimizing estrogen exposure. And this was one of these things that I have just had to learn about over time. I really had no idea until about 9 years ago that so many of the products that I was using and that our country uses especially are hold on, I got someone in the waiting room, are actually full of chemicals that can disrupt our hormones. And I just didn't know that. And a lot of times what they do is they raise our estrogen. So our world is really kind of increasingly toxic over here. So basically how it kind of works is rather than researching ways to enhance the products here with ingredients that support our health, many companies are just cutting corners and they're using ingredients like parabens and petrochemicals and fragrances and everything, and artificial colors, which we just talked about. But not only that, but they also use the fancy packaging and the glitter and the charming labels that are clearly advertising right to our kids. So I even think about think about all the girls like sprays and all of the things. And I've got my daughter, like she's totally attracted to that stuff. But I also think about the guys and like the Axe spray. And if you spray it on yourself, all the girls are going to just be all over you. Just all the things like that. They're just targeting our kids. But what we just don't realize is that all of that stuff is full of things that are messing with their hormones. So, so the toxic chemicals, what happens is that they can compete with the hormones in our body, and they're known as endocrine disruptors. So when absorbed in the body, an endocrine disruptor may decrease or increase normal hormone levels. And then it mimics the body's natural hormones, and even after the natural production of hormones. So it just like messes us up. So a lot of times what those people will do, and those companies will do, and how the FDA will approve something, you know, that little small amount in that bottle of something might not be a big deal, but that's not the only time we're using that. So maybe that spray isn't a big deal. If that was the only thing you used all day, maybe that amount would be fine. The problem is it's in our lotion, it's in our cleaners, it's in like everything that we're using. Some of it's in our foods. So that's where they're not taking it into account, is that if you approve those chemicals for everything we use in a day, well, now our bodies are getting overwhelmed. So
Also, it's in plastics.
oh yeah.
Plastics is a huge one. So like if you can replace like plastic plates, you really should not microwave plastic plates or cups or anything like that. If you want to microwave stuff, use glass, or even probably like paper plates are better than plastic. So plastic cups, I really like these water bottles. I think I got this from the gear shop. It was $15 from Young Living. And I really like that bottle. I actually have two because I like it so much, but I think like minimizing that exposure as much as you can. It's in our clothes, like polyester is like a synthetic, like kind of plasticky substance. So we can look at, like, I don't shop that way all the time, but if I can, I do. Like if I can say, well, this one's all cotton, I'll buy that one because it really is better for your body, for your kids. It breathes better. Like if God made it, it's better than if man made it, right?
Right.
God didn't make plastics. He made the substances, and people morphed them together and stirred them up and turned it into that. But that's a really important one.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, because of what we have going on here, which our country just has it so backwards, we actually strip the good out of things. And I was seeing something the other day that it's like that we strip the good out of things, and then we actually then go pay a fee to have it. You know what I mean? Like we strip the good things out of like bread, and then we pay a large fee to have the bread that has all the good in it. Like we just have everything so backwards. But what this is doing is it really makes us estrogen heavy. And when estrogen is too high and hormones are out of balance, it causes just a whole list of symptoms. That's really why women quite often need progesterone, actually, as they get older, and why men often need testosterone. And the same is true for our kids as their bodies are trying to develop. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So if we can start to minimize the estrogen exposure like that, like from synthetic estrogen, like that's going to do a lot of things. So here's just 3 simple changes to help you with that. One is to just remove all those fake fragrances from your home. So like the smelly room sprays and the fabric fresheners, candles and plugins. Really lurking behind the ingredient fragrance is a host of problems and hidden toxins. And the thing is we don't even know what that is. Every time you see fragrance, that could be any mixture of things in there, and they don't have to even disclose what it is. So that's actually a huge problem. But that's where the diffusers can come in. And I kind of love that Young Living has a, like their diffusers there's so many different ones now. So you can get some that don't look all pretty. You can get some that like look more masculine that your teens will like, just things like that. But the diffusers are a way to go with that. You can make perfumes and room sprays and body sprays with the oils. And then clean up your cleaning. So tip number 2 is to just switch to Young Living Steve's household cleaner. It kind of is a simple does it all cleaner. And then look at the whole laundry line and the dish soap and the hand soaps, toothpaste, mouthwash, like if you really list off all of those things that we would typically use just store-bought, which not everything store-bought is bad, but I'm just saying like all of the things that we use that have fragrance in it or are not natural. It is such a big list of things that we use every single day that could quite often have something in it that could be messing with your hormone, the whole chemical makeup of your body. So doing that can be really important. And then take a hard look at your personal care products, shower products, your skincare. Like a lot of these have like really key toxins in them that we really want to be careful of. But that is where Young Living has products to replace those too, including the face wash, the toners and lotions and charcoal face mask and the acne treatment. Like I've been excited the last few years. They have really started to get a lot more things that are helpful for our teenagers and tweens. They have the whole, the line called Balance that is really targeted toward the younger skin. They have an acne treatment. So it's like very good spot treatment and stuff that's really good. And my daughter is obsessed with the charcoal face mask. She probably has that on her face at least 3 days a week. But she loves it and it just pulls the toxins out. And she has beautiful skin. Like for a teenager, I'm always like, and she'll get the tiniest little, no one can ever see it. She'll be like, I'm breaking out. And I'm like, that's not a breakout, honey. Like, but I'm always just like, she has just beautiful skin, but she's very intentional about it. Like she really wants to have beautiful skin, but she's good to her face. So, but she uses all that Young Living stuff and it's really awesome with her. A couple other things with like the skin, like if acne is an issue, sometimes you have to find what it is that's going to work for your kid. Even with like the other stuff, like you have to find what works. I've heard some people loved Proactive and some people said it didn't work for them. And it's the same when it comes to, trying to figure out some oils and stuff like that can help. Purification can be a really great spot treatment, or if they just have like different spots, or like, maybe they get it on their chin or on their forehead, like it's a great one to just mix into what they're putting on their face. Tea tree can be really great for that. Lavender just added to the face lotion or shampoos and stuff can be super helpful for that. I know for me and my daughter both, we'll put a drop of lavender in our face lotion. And I sometimes just use like argan oil, or jojoba oil. And I'll just put a drop of lavender and I will rub it all over my face after I wash it. And I will actually like close my eyes and rub it so that it also gets on my lashes. And it actually makes my lashes super healthy and it makes them more full and they don't like break off and fall out like they do just from the mascara that I'm always using. So that's actually another little tip for your teen girls, especially if they're like caring about their lashes now, which mine totally cares about her lashes. So I didn't care about my lashes at her age. We're a little bit different. But now I just noticed that. But lavender is also really great for like putting it in the shampoo and getting it on the scalp if they have like a dry scalp. My daughter deals with a little bit of eczema and like she just has sensitive skin. So putting that on her scalp is really helpful, especially in those winter months, but even in the summer months. And rosemary can also be really helpful on the scalp. And Sarah, I think, shared with me the other day that tea tree, you can use tea tree to help with conditioner buildup. So you can put that in your shampoo. It's like clarifying shampoo.
Well,
So
and I didn't tell you, Lizzie has been doing that. She's my 21-year-old. And because like with curls, you can't wash it every day. So, but I condition it every time I get it wet. So a few of my kids have curls. And so like we do get this. Oh, I'm getting a phone call.
okay.
Okay.
No problem. So one of the things that I will share when we email you, Lisa, I'll email you even just like, I have an eczema recipe. And even if none of your kids or any of you deal with eczema, it's fine. You can use this recipe for like any rash. It's literally my go-to for like, if there's any rashes going on or just anything skin like that, it's the recipe is just so good. It like works. So were you saying something, Lisa?
I just said thank you. My daughter, I know my daughter is a lot like, it sounds like your daughter, and she's on top of like any little thing, but I might try the charcoal one. She likes those too. So
Okay, awesome. Yes, yes. It's good. I like the mask too. I'm just less finicky about it all. She's just like obsessed. But
I think the purification is interesting too. I use that for I feel like when winter comes up and I feel like we might be getting sick, or
yeah.
cold seasons coming up, I always think of it for that. But so that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great one for that too. It's a really good one to diffuse, like with thieves and stuff. It just adds an extra, like getting rid of all the airborne crud going on. And that's a really good one for that. That's why I like these oils, because you're like, you can use them for your zits and also for, staying healthy. So yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, Janet and I were talking about like lavender, how much lavender does.
So many things. So many things.
I always thought for sleeping, like help you get to sleep. But I forget what she told me. I know like burns because I've had, she said to put it on, but I can't remember what she recently just said, but I was like, wow, lavender just does so much.
Oh yeah. For like really anything skin, it's kind of one of those like skin oils, like it like burns, scrapes, like sunburn. Oh my word. So if your kids get like sunburned here in the coming weeks, I'm telling you, like put some aloe with some drops of lavender in it. Like, and I burn really easily. So, but when I do that, like that night, oops, I feel like I just got something in my nose. Just did something really weird on camera. Sorry. But when I put that in there in my like aloe or lotion at night, like the redness will be basically gone the next morning. Like it's just so awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
So, the next thing.
Hey, Stephanie.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say was that when Lizzie, a side effect of her cleaning her scalp with a tea tree, her skin cleared up. Like, amazing. Yeah. So like she had kind of like sandpapery acne around here, and that's all gone.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
That's really cool. Yeah. So good to know. So speaking of all those oils, the next thing, the third area we were just going to talk about is just like to consistently use oils. Like you're obviously an oil user. So when we use those, like, and use them consistently and find what our kids really respond well to use them consistently is really key. I think sometimes even as adults, we use them and we love them and we feel like they just make a great impact. And then all of a sudden one day we don't use them. And then the next day we don't use them. And then all of a sudden we get out of the habit and then we're right back to where we were, but we just forget what impact they have on us. So Young Living has a ton of oils to support the endocrine system, or they can just be helpful for hormonal changes. So using those oils topically throughout the month can support those gentle changes in the body and help to control the emotional roller coaster that our kids get on. Aromatherapy, I've just really learned a lot about how powerful it is. so what this is saying is like beyond recalling a memory, aromatic components have been used historically for mental, physical, and spiritual healing. So countless studies have shown that the inhalation of pure essential oils has a profound effect on human brain functions, including altering cognition, mood, and social behavior. And I just don't think that we give it enough credit. I feel like in our country, we are quicker to trust going and trying a medication than we are something like diffusing emotionally supportive essential oils. And it's not that medication is like the enemy, but these are things like there's a place for it. But sometimes we really can help ourselves if we are just diligent about supporting our bodies with the essential oils, especially just with our diffusers and being able to just inhale them. So we wanted to tell you a little bit about the oil Endoflex, because this is one that is like so powerful, and it can be good for literally anyone, men, women, boys, and girls, like all of them, 2-year-olds, teenagers, all of them. So Endoflex is often used by women to help support their hormones as they age. But what is extra awesome about Endoflex is it can be used on kids and teenagers too, to support the endocrine system and the adrenals. So many children actually deal with imbalances in both of these areas. And those, when you are dealing with an imbalances in that, it can cause sleep issues and even tantrums. So there's actually someone in the oil world that actually named the Endoflex oil a tantrum tamer. Like she had it labeled on the bottle, tantrum tamer, because she would use it on her kids when they were behaving so crazy. And she just would notice that the tantrums would just like chill out. So
that also helps with teens and like bigger kids too. Like if everybody's fighting or something, I'm like, hey guys, come here, we're going to do some Endoflex. I have a roller top on it and I just roll their like thyroid area.
yeah.
And then the secret sauce is giving them like an extra long hug, like 12 seconds. It takes 12 seconds, I think, for your endorphins to release during a hug. So for like 12 seconds, and maybe it'll be awkward for your kids, but I'm like, no, we're going to hug it out. You know, you can teens, you got to kind of mess with them a little bit. Like, no, you're my baby boy. You have to stay with mommy. You know, like I kind of tease them, and it kind of breaks them out of a funk. Like if all the kids, they're fighting or they have like are having a bad day or just whatever. That's a really good one for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that interfere? Like I have thyroid, like a hyperactive thyroid.
Okay.
Is that take still?
It's balancing. Oils balance. So unless you use it and it makes you not feel good, you should probably be able to use it. And if you have like, you can put it over your adrenals too, like in your back, like around your kidney area, the upper part. You can use Endoflex there too if you want to keep it away from your thyroid, but and still get the support in your endocrine system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's kind of noisy where I am.
Oh, we can't hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing to know about oils too is that they don't just like, when you take it, it doesn't just like stay in your system for days. So it's nice that you can like Sarah was saying, you can kind of try it. And then if it does like have an impact, that you're like, I didn't really like that. Like oils actually then go out of your body within like 4 to 6 hours or something. So it's something that like, you know, if you feel like it didn't make you feel very good, then you just know, you know,
Don't keep doing it.
right.
You
Or
could
just
start
try
out
a different place.
slow, like start out with, 2 drops in a diffuser.
Right.
And see if you're like, maybe not, maybe then just save it for your kids or whatever, but that's a thought.
Yeah.
All of these are just kind of our, what works for us. We're not like diagnosing or like treating or anything. So we do need to throw that out there, but just like do what works for you.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. just a couple of quick little testimonies that we had written down from other moms that we knew. One mom had said that her 5-year-old literally never slept through the night for his entire first 5 years, which I cannot imagine. So then they started seeing a holistic doctor who checked his levels, and they found out he needed adrenal support. So they added Endoflex to his routine, and he slept through the night and every night since. So the whole like sleep issues, like when kids are having sleep issues for that many years, there has to be something off, you know. So being able to support it with oils is pretty cool.
Right.
And then from another mom, she said, this is her quote. She said, I educate all the time on the importance of Endoflex for the entire family. I learned about it way late. It sat on my shelf for 5 years before I ever used it. The difference it made for my teen daughters was staggering. Then later I figured out that I needed to use it for my boys, 7 and 10 at the time, and it worked so well. The more I learned about it and the endocrine system, the more I realized that I had needed it for everyone all along, including my kiddos when they were little. So I truly do. I hear this one being recommended to women all the time, but then I started to hear people talk about it, like the whole tantrum tamer and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, so this is like helpful for everyone. Like, okay. Yeah, another mom was talking about like the whole terrible twos. She's like, no, this like changed my 2-year-old. So that's pretty cool to hear. So we work really hard to support our kids in a lot of other ways, all their systems, but I just don't think we think about the endocrine system. And I never did either. I didn't actually know that was a thing to think about. But now we know a little bit more. So we're just trying to do that and then spread the word on it. So like any new oil, the feet is really a good place to start sometimes. So especially if you're kind of wondering about that, but the feet are a good place to start. And then you can always adjust to other areas of your body. But like Sarah was saying, just kind of like start with what you're comfortable with and what you feel like works for you. And if it didn't work for you right there, then try somewhere different. Sometimes just opening it up and literally smelling it right out of the bottle with some deep breaths is good to just give it a shot, but just do what you just feel comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah. And then don't forget to love on the liver as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, but when hormones are wonky and the body is trying to balance them, the liver actually has to do more work. So Juvaflex oil is actually a good one to have on hand too for that. And actually just a little side note, Endoflex and Juvaflex are both included in a collection that Young Living has called the Golden Touch. And a lot of people started to talk about this collection a lot more because of what oils are in it. It has the Endoflex and Juvaflex, and they say every mom needs this collection. It has the Melrose and Raven, RC, Digize, and Thieves. And those are basically a bunch of must-haves. So that collection is a really good one to look into if you're ever kind of needing like a lot of the ones I just listed. And it's only, I think it's like 103 PV or something. So it's actually not that bad with getting 7 oils. So pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then just a few oils that like girls might prefer. I know like with my daughter, it's true. Like clary sage is a really good one. Lavender is a really good one. Dragon thyme.
Oh.
I don't know. I just know that dragon thyme works for me. Like in like the 4 days or so, like, or that week before period starts, when that tends to be when a woman starts to get more emotional or irritable and stuff. Applying dragon thyme, like I always do it to the bottom of my feet. I don't actually love the smell of it. So I do it like on the inside of my ankles or the bottom of my feet. And it seriously calms down all that edginess and the emotions and stuff. And it works for my daughter too. So it's amazing.
I'll have to try that one.
It's a good one. And honestly, with her age too, like, especially once they're basically getting into the tween years where you're like seeing maybe the period's going to start, or then maybe it did just start, like a drop of Progestins Plus every day is actually really helpful. It's a mood balancer. And we noticed a huge difference with my daughter when she started to actually use that one every day for us. I say for us, but it truly was. It was for us. It was real. It was a real deal. But they can also put it on their abdomen, you just wherever they want to put it, as long as they put it on. That's kind of where I'm at. But stress away is a good one. Valor, joy, harmony, peace and calming. Release is a really good one, especially if they are kind of like got the personality of like kind of pent up anger, you know, and they're just not releasing when they do have any emotions. If they kind of internalize it, that one's a good one to use as well. Just really good hormone and emotion supporting oils. But then those are a little bit more pretty smelling. So boys may prefer like Northern Lights black spruce and Idaho blue spruce, Idaho grand fir. Really all like the tree oils are pretty amazing, but also like Sacred Mountain and Shutran, sorry. But so there's good ones for them too. Valor's actually an okay one for guys too. That one's not like so pretty. It can be either way. But and then for moms and dads, there's ones for moms and dads too, but just some good ones too, even for the teens if they're going through some like low points. Bergamot is really good for like depression and really low moods like that. Orange is really good for just a mood enhancer. GLF, which I'm just learning more about it just in the past actually several months, is just really good for if they're holding on to like anger and bitterness and unforgiveness and all of that kind of stuff. Juvaflex is good for that too, but just any of those kinds of oils to just if they don't want to apply them, just diffuse them. They'll have no idea what you're doing. Just diffuse them in the house if that's what's going on. Because I know some kids can be like, no, don't put that on me, you know, they get to that age, but okay, then I'll diffuse it, you know. So anyway, we can help them. But next one, just to keep your kids moving. I know for my kids are in sports, but I know not all kids do that. But I know for my kids, if they aren't active, they are more of a mess. Like they need to release aggression. They need to have an outlet. They need to like get the energy out. They need to move and do those things. And then they feel much better. They act much better. They have more fun. I mean, they have to sweat it out. When we sweat, we're actually getting rid of harmful toxins and excess hormones. We're actually like detoxing when we do that, and drinking tons of water is good. Just getting them active is really a good idea, which I think we all know that. It's just hard to keep them active. I know Sarah actually talked about how just recently she actually put all of her kids in karate. Her kids aren't necessarily involved in sports, and she was kind of realizing like they're just not active enough. So she put them in karate, and she said that has like made a huge difference for them to just do something like that, and just how greatly it impacts their mental health, you know. And then supporting their active lifestyle. If you can do Ningxia Red, or even just once in a while, a little bit consistently, Ningxia Red is really, really, really supportive of the whole endocrine system. It like literally supports the whole body. And throwing in Ningxia greens. And then I was also going to say, getting Amino Wise on hand, which is out of stock right now, but I'm hoping it comes in very soon. But Amino Wise, if you do have little athletes, if they like train really hard and get really sore, like my daughter, is in track right now, but then she was also in basketball, and she just works really hard even on her own and stuff. So her body will get sore and she will get tired out, and her adding Amino Wise to her days has actually been super helpful for her, just her body to just recover. So that's a good one. And then since we're saying that we got to move it and move their bodies, we should talk about body odor. So I know like the most popular like deodorant for Young Living is the Valor deodorant. People do love that one. It's not good. Just being truthful, with any like natural deodorant, you really got to find what works for you. So it doesn't work for everyone, but it does work for lots of people. But unlike harmful deodorants made with aluminum and toxins shown to harm the lymph nodes, Young Living's deodorants are safe and the perfect way to help them just get in the habit of daily application. So one thing that can be helpful is to just, when you're first introducing deodorant, even to just introduce the good stuff. so that the body doesn't even get used to putting on the other stuff. Because it is a lot harder to go back. So, and then also you could consider adding multigreen supplement to their daily regimen. Because apparently the chlorophyll helps with the body odor too, which is just another cool thing I learned about all this. So, and there's a roller blend in here that we'll put it in our little recipes to you, but it's just to help with like mood. It's just in a roller with like joy and sacred mountain and peace and calming and endoflex. So maybe they would just use that for you every day. So, and then the final little area that we just feel like would be just is so important to just be intentional about with our kids is just having just focusing on the liver a little bit and keeping the liver healthy. And we kind of talked about that a little bit, but a healthy liver really goes a long way in supporting the body's hormones. One of the liver's roles is actually to help regulate the balance of sex hormones, thyroid hormones, cortisol, and other adrenal hormones. So the liver transforms and breaks down and removes any excess hormones from the body. So
including estrogen.
yes. So if our liver is like overwhelmed and like is just trying to work through all the toxins trying to come through it, it's basically it's like it works more sluggishly.
Mhm.
So in addition to eating a healthy diet and having that regular exercise, Young Living actually does have some things that can help us support a healthy liver. So an easy thing to do is just adding some drops of oils like citrus fresh and lemon or orange, like in filtered water throughout the day. Those are just all detoxing, and they just really help us detox. It helps your liver to function the way that we want it to. And then they also have Detoxzyme. It's an enzyme supplement, and it's helpful for supporting detox and digestive health. So that's a good one to just have on hand. Juvacleanse, that GLF oil, they can be used topically over the liver, or you can also put them in a capsule. They do come in the Vitality oil version. But do you know that Vitality is the same as the regular, Lisa?
I did. I mean, I did buy some of I did ask Janet that because I
Yeah.
wondered.
Yeah. It's a silly thing. And I hope at one point it goes away. I had heard that there was talks about them being able to not have to do that anymore. But as of right now, that was just how they could get around that new regulation about labels and make sure that those of us who are using Young Living know that we can use their oils in all 3 different ways. So, but that's good for you to know, because the Vitality is always the smaller bottles. So if you can ever get a bigger bottle, it's always the best bang for your buck. So I just like people to I like to make sure people know that. So, and then probiotics are especially helpful during ovulation and menstruation for girls, actually. So that's the one thing about girls, is just learning our cycles, and then your cycle might look differently than your daughter's cycle, and then just knowing what supports her, in the different seasons that we're in, like that. So those are all just different ways that, as we were just talking as moms of tweens and teens, these are just things that we thought could be helpful to share. So Sarah, do you have anything that you want to add? Anita, you can add if you want, or Lisa, if you have anything you want to ask or add to it.
I want to talk about like the liver and the estrogen cleansing at the end of the period. So your period is actually a detox. And so if your daughter is like, oh, I hate my period or whatever, you can just say like, listen, this is your body's way of detoxing once a month. Just embrace it. Don't hate it, because then, that can lead to other things, issues. So just like embrace it, support like a detox when your daughters have their period, and yourself too. Treat it like a detox. So I get migraines at the end of my periods, or at least I used to. Detoxzyme, the supplement, they're tiny pills like this big.
Mhm.
That was very helpful. A couple times it kept my migraine low, and then it would start coming back, and I'd take like 8 detox time, and then it would drop again. And it just kind of did that for like 2 or 3 days, because that's how long my migraines would last, up to like 7 or 8 days sometimes. So, so that was really helpful to know, because we can do something to support our body in a detox. And if the period is a detox, hello, lemon oil, sleep, drinking a ton of water, exercising and sweating, even though you don't want to do that when you're on your period, it's really good for you. And that's probably why, because it is supporting the detox.
Right. Yeah.
And also Progestins Plus helps with that. Also, when the estrogen, it balances out the estrogen.
Yeah.
I did have one thing I wanted to add about the Endoflex. My daughter is, well, she has Hashimoto's. And with the Endoflex, like Sarah said, it balances. So it's going to help whether you have over or underactive. But one thing you can do is, if you're on medication, because she was taking Synthroid, is just to talk to your endocrinologist and tell them you're using this oil, and that way they're aware of it, and see if it has an increase or decrease in, or affects your numbers as far as your TSH or whatever it is they check. So that's just one thing I would say about that. But and like she said, start low and slow. I think either hypo or hyper, I think it'd be something you could definitely benefit from.
For sure. Also, I've heard a lot of people talk about Thyromin for the thyroid as well. I've heard it called Thyromin and Thyromin. But that's like, but that was another one that I know I've heard people say, like, that has actually helped people get off of their other thyroid medications, but it was something that they worked with their doctors with, you know,
Yeah.
so that they could monitor that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So. All right. Any questions? Anything else you're thinking?
No, I've been at my daughter's practice in the car. And she's just
Okay.
she's done at 8:30 here, so I will have to go. But
Yeah.
it's very interesting. I appreciate it. I feel like I want to go home and eat my walnuts.
Brain health.
Yeah, I got a big bag that's been there for a while, so need to eat those up.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I've had to like grow into them and like them, because I didn't used to like them, but I don't know. Well, I'm glad that you could hop on today.
Yes. Thank you.
And I'm glad it was helpful. Cool.
There's definitely a few things that I think I want to try now. The deodorant of my daughter, she is very active too. And I know she's always worried that like the natural isn't going to do its job. But
maybe you need to do detox your armpits, and we can include that in our emails that we send you.
Okay, yeah.
There are really good ways to like detox like the old deodorant, because sometimes that's why the new, like the natural deodorant stinks so bad.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a face mask on your armpit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that can really help with that transition, but like do it, you know, when over a weekend when she's gonna be at home, or, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
Not when she's going to the junior high dance. Woo. The worst. All right, I have to hop off, so I'm gonna say goodbye.
I think we all
And-
do.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.